Have you ever been taking a photo or video and you wanted to set a different mood? Perhaps change the tone and the hue of the color? Well, you can do that pretty easily just by adjusting your white balance. And today, I'm going to show you how. Quickly and easily change the mood or tone of a photo or a video just by adjusting your white balance. It's pretty simple. Even most modern cell phones are going to have this setting on there. Now, I'll show you how it works, but I'll break down why it works. It's a pretty simple but scientific process, and I'll show you how that all works. So, if we go here and we look at the temperature scale. So the reason why it's called that is it's based off of a unit of measure known as Kelvin. So the way that that is determined, it was basically that it's basically the hue of light that is emitted from a black radiator when hit with a certain temperature a certain temperature reached with that black radiator. So on the lower end, if you're talking about 1,000, 2,000 Kelvin, it's going to be more towards red, orange, then move to yellow, and then whites, and then into blues and deeper blues, basically. So when you're looking at it, traditional direct sunlight is going to be somewhere around 5,500, 5,600 Kelvin. So if knowing that that is the constant, and then anything cooler than that is going to shift more blue, and anything warmer than that is going to start to shift orange, yellow, and red. So if we look here, this is just a picture that I took straight out of my cell phone, and this is midday sun, 55, 5,600 degrees Kelvin, okay? So if I wanted to shift that, what I could do is I could actually lower my white balance, because when I have it set to the white balance that it's actually at, of the environment, the ambient light of the environment, in here, in this case 5,500 Kelvin, it will show colors very accurately, very truly. Now, generally that's what you're going to want, but sometimes you can make an artistic choice to do things a little bit differently. So using that as a guide, I lowered my white balance to around, I want to say 2,500 Kelvin here, maybe 2,000. And this you're going to see is a huge overcorrection, and there's no real application for this, but this is just to show you how much of a blue shift you can do. And there's nothing different about this environment. This is the same environment, and I just changed the settings on the camera. Then you shift the other way, and you shift your color balance all the way up to 10,000, and you see how orange and just awful that is. Now, you could obviously meet somewhere in the middle there, but understanding how that works is actually really, really helpful when you start to think about the scientific process of how you can do that. So if we look at the scale again, and you see that you have a constant of, let's say, 5,500. We're using that as the example because it's, the most common example. And if we were to drop my white balance, you would think I'm dropping it down to, 3,000 Kelvin. So, no, it would naturally go that way. And you would get more shifts towards orange, red, so on and so forth. But because this is the constant, we've effectively changed this value and raised that up and made that into a cooler temperature, if that makes sense. So when we drop it, that's what's happening. Now, when we raise it up to 10,000, we're effectively lowering that into a warmer color tone. So it's counterintuitive, but it makes sense when you look at it from that standpoint. So if I go here and I show you, go into my photo editor, and I show you a picture that I recently edited. This is a photo of my daughter, and it's if you can see, it's definitely shifted more towards blue. So it wasn't like that straight out of camera, but what I did was I slightly lowered the white balance from where it was set, which was around 5600 Kelvin, and I just lowered it ever so slightly to about 5200 or so. So it was just a slight shift. I didn't want to make her look like a Smurf. But that was something that I could do to bring out more of the blue in the background that I wanted. So I was playing around with that, and that's something that you can do too. So the team colors for her gymnastics team are blue, and I was just doing some test shots, and I was able to bring that blue out because I had a blue gel in one of the background lights that I was using, and I was testing it out. So there's a number of ways that you could use this, more effectively, and to do so in a way that's, not going to be detrimental to the final product. So every little bit matters, and the reason why I had it set to that is because the lighting that I use, the strobe flash that I use, is generally set to 5600 Kelvin. So that's usually where it's going to pop out at. And that's going to depend on your modifier and a lot of other things, but that's not what we're here for. This is just to show you that you have a lot more creative control than you think you do over something that you can do even with your cell phone. So if you want to try something different, go out and then you can use the auto white balance on your cell phone in your phone app, and then that will give you a baseline. Then play with it, up, down, whatever, and you can try that out, because sometimes it's fun to play with manipulating a little warmer if you're, let's say, outside in the fall and there's maybe some orange tones in some leaves and you want to bring that out a little bit. You don't want anybody looking like an Oompa Loompa, but you do want to bring that environment out and you do want to set that tone. It's something you can do. It's fairly easy, and it can make a dramatic effect. So if you like this content, hit like, subscribe. I'll talk more about little things like this that you can use in your everyday, day-to-day life just to improve the quality of your photos and your videos. Go to fbimaging.com. Follow me on Instagram, fb_imaging. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.